former Archbishop of Canterbury. He wants more conversation and debate on assisted dying, saying it is profoundly Christian to want to alleviate somebody's suffering. The Church of England officially opposes assisted dying, which, of course, we will all know, remains illegal under UK law. I have to say, just confession time, I absolutely support assisted dying. I think it is beyond cruel that we allow people to suffer against their wishes. You wouldn't do that to an animal, you wouldn't do it to a dog, but yet we do it to people against their will, and I think it's wrong.
I agree. I think particularly as a function of the advances in medicine, where medicine can prolong life, but not necessarily quality of life. And where people have chronic conditions, terminal illnesses, this is an increasingly a choice many people will face. I've got friends who helped a friend go to Switzerland and pass in the manner that she chose. She was absolutely crystal clear of when and how she wanted to do it. It was illegal, and they risked breaking the law to support her wishes. But this is something, these are choices that lots of us are going to face more and more as medicine enables longer life but doesn't necessarily support quality of life.
Well, yeah, there's a difference between, very simply, between living and existing. Yes, you might be able to exist for decades longer, but if you're incapacitated, you've got someone, wiping your bits and pieces, your dignity's gone, you don't have a quality of life, and you choose not to be here anymore, I firmly believe it should be your choice.
I completely disagree with that argument about assisted dying. I wouldn't call it assisted dying. It's actually killing people. It's euthanasia. And I'm very surprised that George Carey, the former Archbishop, is coming at this and saying, from a Christian perspective, that he supports assisted dying or mercy killing as it is. Now, I totally agree that it's Christian to want to end suffering or alleviate suffering. You don't want to make people suffer, absolutely. But what he doesn't mention in there is anything about God, anything about the Bible, anything about Christian orthodoxy on tradition and teaching, which completely is against killing, murder, which is what it is. And, that might be
a murder, is it? Murder. You're taking someone's life against
Well, you are. This is talking about people who are not able to end their own life. They're not able to make the choice to commit suicide, if you like.
Because they don't have control of their body, but their mental
So you're killing them.
Yes.
You're killing someone. So, for example, people go off to Switzerland, to Dignitas, whatever, they're given a poison, and they end their life. Now, this is against all kinds of Christian orthodoxy completely. So it's very surprising that George Carey has said that.
But there's a point here about catching up with the modern world. Medicine has sort of when this teaching and this, and it's not just Christianity, it's across all the world religions. This is a kind of common theme. But this teaching and these was sort of formulated in a time when we didn't have modern medicine in the way it is, and we don't have the nature of choices where, as Michelle says, you can exist, but it's not living, and your existence can be prolonged for years and years and years. And despite your explicit wishes, now there need to be safeguards. You can't just
definitely,
and you need to be clear on someone's wish, and they need to be of sound mind and sound reason and all the rest of it. But I think the balance has tipped from, a few years ago from, the 80s or whenever the 90s to now when medicine is so advanced and so many more people are in that situation. And we have means of ascertaining people's will.
But I would want to be able to choose when to end my life. So who are you to tell me that because of your religious belief system, I can't do that?
Well, the law says that as well.
Yes, but I would campaign for the law to change.
Well, I would campaign for it to stay the same because,
who are you to tell me? So if I'm in pain, distress, I've made that decision with a sound mind, but my body will not allow me to enact my choice. Who are you, if we can get it changed to the law, who are you because of your religious belief, tell me that I've got to exist in pain with a loss of dignity?
Well, someone is going to have to do the deed, if you like. Someone is going to have to give you the thing that kills you or kill you themselves. So you're actually legalising someone else killing you or killing whoever wants to be killed in the end of their life. And there are no safeguards on this. If you bring this in and allow this to happen, who is to say that there will not be any kind of coercion to do this? How do you know if someone has not been killed without their consent? And wherever it is brought in, it's been brought in Belgium, in the Netherlands, in Canada, there is an immediate escalation and widening of the remit from mercy killing, from people who are terminally ill in lots of pain, which is what you're saying, but that's the edge condition, and then it expands to people who are just terminally ill, maybe not in pain, then it's people who are seriously ill, then people who are mentally ill, then people who are perhaps just depressed or in poverty.
But
Canada
who are you? This is what I can't.
I'm a person with an opinion.
Yeah, but if you don't want someone to end your life, that's your choice.
Yeah.
But who are you then to dictate to somebody else that they can't have that option for them? That's what I can't get my head around in this.
Well, I mean, I've given two very good reasons why we shouldn't do it, and those are secular reasons. The Christian reason, also, again, going back to George Carey, is that this is against everything that we've had, and you said as well, in all faiths, through all of time, and I think that stands in the modern world as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, I profoundly disagree that people can tell somebody else that they have to live in pain and suffering. I profoundly disagree, but where I do share your concern. Take a look at this, everyone. You alluded to it yourself a second ago. In Canada, because even I confess, as much as I do support assisted dying, I do get concerned about slippage, which is your point. In Canada, look at this. The percentage of people that would support assisted dying on the following grounds. So people would support it. Poverty. 27% of Canadians would support that. Homelessness, 28%. Mental illness, 43%. Disability, 50%. Inability to receive medical treatment, 51%. So as much as I disagree with David on the concept of it, I do definitely share concerns. You know, you can't kill someone because they're poor.
No, of course not. And it's ridiculous to think that this is just a free-for-all and suddenly there's going to be mass murder. There'll be safeguards put in place. We live in an open democratic society, and there needs to be safeguards put in place and accountability that those safeguards are adhered to. And at the moment, we do have assisted dying. It's just doctors who choose.
Well, they shouldn't be. They're breaking the law if they're actually doing it. And if you know if someone is doing it, you should report them to the police because that's wrong and it's illegal.
Well, look,
but wherever it has been brought in, and this is the important point I made earlier, it does expand. There is always this slippage. There is always this expansion of the remit very, very quickly, despite whatever safeguards have been brought in. We've seen that every single place has been brought in.
If something like this isn't brought in, more and more people are going to take matters into their own hands, and that in itself brings danger. It brings threat to the people, the loved ones who support someone in making that final journey. And as I said, we have this already. You know, when there's when doctors are given advice to do not resuscitate.
Yeah, DNRs and stuff like that. You're quite right.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of DNRs given out over the lockdown period, and that was so wrong.
True. Yeah.
The 40,000 or so people who were injected with midazolam and morphine who could have survived. That was so wrong.